What is up, everybody? Welcome to the MMA Engine. These are my final thoughts for UFC Vegas 54. We have Jan Blachowicz going against Aleksander Rakic, and this is going to be the lightest amount of bets I've had probably ever, honestly. I mean, I have a couple bets, very small bets. Not in love with the card. I think from a viewer standpoint, it should be a very good card. But from a betting perspective, just not a ton of spots that really do stick out. So we're going to talk through it the chat as always. If you guys can please leave a like on the video, subscribe here to the MMA Engine. It'd be much appreciated. Going to keep trying to grow the channel here and all the good stuff. So this show is officially going to be on the MMA Engine channel going forward as well. So if you guys are wondering where I'm at, I am right here on the MMA Engine. So let's shout out the chat and then get started. We have 11 fights to talk about. We got Brandon, first one in the chat, saying, yes, sir, I agree. We got Philip saying, what's up, Philip? Mushroom in the chat, what's up, Brady? Congrats on the weight loss and the wedding. Let's go. And I agree, Mushroom, let's go. And yeah, thank you for that. Mushroom does mean a lot. Brandon saying, found some very good spots, like 5 bets in my sneaky decision parlay at plus 775. Hopefully that hits for you. We got Bill in the chat. What is up, Bill? All hell, Brady. Spread your knowledge, please. I will try to spread as much knowledge as possible. We got Jeremiah in the chat as well. How's the night going? The night is going pretty decent. How's it going for you, Jeremiah? We got Uncle Weezy, everybody's favorite uncle in the chat. Let's go, Brady. Let's go, Uncle Weezy. We got Jimmy saying that this is a very sketchy card. And yeah, I think, it's a very, very sketchy card here as well. So can't wait to talk about it. We got Eric in the chat as well. What's up, everyone? Hope all is well. What's up, Brady? Good luck, everyone. Good luck to you as well, Eric. How you doing? Lauren checking in. We got Raw Torque. What's up, ladies? What is up, Raw Torque? Jan checking in as well. We got Papa Chuck. Thank you all for hanging out. Again, hit the like button. It does go a long way. You hit me up on Twitter, DFS_numbers. Instagram is DFS by the numbers. Go subscribe to my channel on DFS by the numbers. I'm like 20 subs away from 15K, so would love to hit that in the near future. But most importantly, make sure you guys are subscribed here to the MMA Engine. Lots of content coming your guys' way. So I say we get right into it. And yeah, not a ton to talk about. Not a ton of bets, but I do have a bet on the first fight of the night. We have Nick Maximov going against Andy Petrovski. And the first bet I do have is going to be the fight doesn't go to decision. I got it at plus 112 on FanDuel. I'm half a unit on that. I think it's a very sneaky, fight doesn't go to decision prop here. We have Andy Petrovski, who's actually never been to a decision win or loss. He has a 100% finish rate in his wins, and then he was finished in his only loss as well. And then we have Nick Maximov, who has won by decision in his last 3 fights, won on the Contender Series in his debut against Brundage, and then also in his last fight against Soriano. But I just think stylistically, this fight has a very solid chance of finishing Andy Petrovski. If he wins, honestly, it's probably early. He's very dangerous. He hits really hard, puts everything into every shot. And then you have Petrovski, who also slows down as the fight goes on. What I noticed in the Zhang Hu fight was it was like towards the end of the first round, he was huffing and puffing. He looked very, very tired. He was able to push through that because it was, Hu Zhang. But this is going to be a big step up in competition against Nick Maximov. If he slows down against Nick Maximov, Maximov does not slow down. I can see Maximov getting a late finish here. So I think covers both sides. I think Petrovski early with the 100% finish rate. And I think Maximov is very live for a late finish as well. If Petrovski does slow down like I kind of expect him to there. So fight doesn't go for me. Obviously, you can't play the Maximov minus 350. I believe he is the biggest favorite on the slate. You don't want to mess around with that. You don't really want to mess around with the Maximov inside the distance at plus 145 or the decision at plus 135. I could see either. But yeah, I do like that half a unit on the fight doesn't go. From a DraftKings perspective, I do like Maximov quite a bit, 9,300. This guy's relentless. He's going to go for a ton of takedowns, and he has the cardio to do so. And then also Petrovski could be like a sneaky pump play this week at 6,900 in a fight that there's going to be a lot of wrestling, a lot of control time either way, some reversals, some sweeps, all the good stuff. It's going to primarily play out on the mat. I think the winner does score very good. But yeah, I do like Maximov to win. I like Maximov to finish Petrovski late. I did see that FanDuel had the Maximov round 3, which was plus 1,400. That kind of stuck out a little bit, but I just took a half unit on the fight doesn't go, plus 112. I think this fight has a better chance to finish than the line does indicate. And this is one of the ones we talked about on probability with Uncle Weezy. This was one that was really sticking out on the prop template as well. So liking it. I like how the analysis lines up with the numbers there. And by the way, if you guys have not checked out probability, make sure you guys do so. One of my favorite shows of the week for sure. What's up, Spencer? How you doing? Uncle Weezy saying a good fight doesn't get decision spot here, and I totally agree. We need to get this channel more subs. That's the goal. That is absolutely the goal. Actual crime that there's 775. Well, I'm kind of happy with that. We've grown the channel, a ton throughout the last couple weeks and months, and it's all thanks to you guys. But yeah, I'm trying to aim for 1,000 very soon. So I had saying, what's up, Brady? I got $1,000 last week, Oliveira KO. Yeah, I had my biggest bet of the year on the under 3.5, and yeah, glad it was absolutely sweat free there. Jeff saying, I think we are just really looking forward to the home fight. No, absolutely not. If you guys think this card is bad, which I'm not a big fan of this card, next week we have 10 fights, and it is headlined by one Holly Holm and Ketlin Vieira. So that should be great. But yeah, June is going to be a great month for a ton of great fights. And I've also seen like they're announcing fights left and right. Lots of good fights coming our way this summer, but this card and next card especially just kind of rough. But if we can make money, it doesn't really matter to me how bad the card is. Brandon's saying, I feel like Maximov wants to finish because he got put in the first fight of the card. I played a unit plus 127, especially because the Killer Be Killed fighter. Yeah, that's something to mention as well. Maximov went from a co-main event spot to first fight of the night. He needs a finish here. He needs a finish, and I think he can get it late there. Jan saying, I like Maximov third or decision plus 100. I think if you like Maximov, I think that's the way to play it rather than laying minus 350. Absolutely. We got Ron checking in. What is up, Ron? How you doing? Let's keep moving on. We have Tesoro Tara going against Carlos Candelario. Candelario, the only weight miss on the card, missed weight by, I think, a half a pound. But yeah, this is a fight I don't have any action on. I think we talked about on probability how the fight goes to decision is a solid look. And I think that fight goes to decision is around even money. But yeah, Candelario did not look that great at weigh-ins. And remember him coming in as the last one a couple weeks back. He was supposed to fight Tara, and I guess he pulled out with like a sickness or something. And then he weighs in today. He looks bad. He looks sick. So I'm not sure what's going on with Candelario there, but it's not something you like to see if you are on the Candelario side. I know a lot of people that are. But yeah, I like Tara here. I think this is going to be a very close and competitive fight here. Tara's grappling is his best aspect of his game. This guy's very slick on the mat. The striking's okay. Not a ton of volume, not a ton going on the feet. But once he gets it down to the mat, he's very slick, very good back takes. And we have seen Candelario struggle with that at times. So I think it's a good spot for Tara here. Do I want to lay minus 235 on him? Absolutely not. He's making his debut in the UFC. He's making his debut in the US. Just a lot of question marks. He's young, 22 years old. But I think stylistically it's a very winnable matchup. But yeah, give me Tara to win by decision. Unless like Candelario is like completely compromised. Like he did not look great. Maybe his cardio does not hold up. But maybe like Tara round 3 decision could be something to look at. But yeah, I'm not going to have any money on this fight. As far as DK goes, I kind of like Candelario as a pump play, just kind of fading the whole, Tara making his debut in the U.S. It is a step up in competition as well, but I think Tara probably does get this done, but I'm not laying minus 235 to find out. Yeah, so give me Tara to win, but yeah, no money on this fight for me. Spencer saying Tara first round sub. Yeah, I don't necessarily. I mean, it could happen, but Candelario has fought some very good grapplers. He fought a very good black belt in his first Contender Series fight, 3rd degree black belt, I believe, and he was able to survive all those things. And I think Candelario is a brown belt in his own right, so I guess it could happen. But Candelario is no like bum on the mat, but his takedown defense is not good. Mushroom saying either Tara inside the distance or under 2.5. He kind of leaning the other way, but no strong read for me one way or another. Brandon saying Tara by decision, which is plus 250. I'd rather play that than lay the minus 235. Tony saying Candelario looked awful weigh-ins. He absolutely did. And yeah, again, he cut weight 2 weeks ago. He was the last one to weigh in. He pulled out with a sickness, and then missing weight this week was not a good look at all. Tara, 3rd round decision, plus 150. Once again, I kind of lean that way as well, but yeah, not going to be betting on this fight. We'll keep moving on. I actually have 2 bets on this next fight here, and I think there's so many ways to play this fight. We have Verna Jandiroba going against Angela Hill, and I really cannot believe this line, and I'm the biggest Verna Jandiroba fan out there. I love her haircut and all that stuff. She's a very exciting fighter, but yeah, minus 185 just does not make sense considering I think if Verna wins this fight, it's by submission. I don't see her going out there and obviously knocking out Angela Hill. I don't see her even going out there and taking down Angela Hill and not subbing her. Like, for Verna to win a decision, she's going to have to get this fight down to the mat. And if she gets this fight down to the mat, I just think she's levels above Angela Hill on the mat. And she's going to be levels above the majority of people she fights. I mean, she's an absolute wizard on the mat. So I think if it hits the mat, she's going to sub Angela Hill. And if she does not get it to the mat, she's going to get pieced apart for 3 rounds. So, the money line on Jandiroba just makes no sense to me. So the way I played this, and I think there's a couple ways you can do it. So I played the decision only, which is the opposite of the finish only. It's on DraftKings. And basically that means if this fight goes to decision and Angela Hill wins, I hit my bet. And then if it goes to decision and Verna wins, I lose my bet. And then if the fight finishes, the bet is voided. So it's like the opposite of the scorecards equals no action. It's opposite of the finish only. So I'm saying if this fight goes to decision, I just don't see how it's Verna winning. I think if this goes to decision, it means Angela Hill was able to stuff the takedowns and she was able to piece apart Jandiroba for 3 rounds. So I put a half a unit on Angela Hill decision only at plus 105. And then I also put a quarter unit on Verna Jandiroba to win by submission at plus 350. I literally think that is her win condition. I don't see Jandiroba outpointing Angela Hill. Like the discrepancy on the feed is like so wide. And even the discrepancy on the mat is so wide. Like I think Angela Hill is going to, make it look pretty easy on the feet. And then on the mat, I think Verna can make it look pretty easy on the mat. But another way you could play this, I think betting the Angela Hill money line, even like plus 160, hedging with the Verna sub is something you could do as well. But yeah, the money line just does not make sense to me. I really struggle to see how Verna wins a decision without, submitting Angela Hill. So yeah, I think there's a lot of ways you can play this. I know Uncle Weezy sprinkled that. Plus, I don't know what the odds are, but round 3 KO for Angela Hill is something crazy. And Uncle Weezy's on that. And it's viable. Verna slowed down bad in the last fight against Hebus. She was getting picked apart bad by Amanda Hebus, and we know Angela Hill is a better striker than Hebus. So as far as DK goes, I think this is a very sneaky fight to target, though. I think it goes one way or another. I think, Angela Hill keeps it standing, picks apart Jandiroba, maybe a late finish, and then I think Jandiroba can absolutely sub Angela Hill there. So, the bet for me is quarter unit, Verna sub, plus 350, half a unit, Hill decision only, plus 105. My goodness, that's plus 3,700. Wow, for Hill to win by 3rd round knockout, plus 3,700. That is nuts. Very handsome, obviously, is Verna Jandiroba. Brandon on the Hill KO plus 950. Yeah, it could happen. I don't think it's like overly likely, but it could absolutely happen if Verna is not able to get this fight down to the mat. Rob Schneider versus Angela Hill. Mushroom with the Hill 3rd round decision. Yeah, I could see it. Could you see Hill being optimal? I think I could. If she's able to stuff the takedowns and keeps it on the feet, she's going to put up a ton of volume on Verna. Like the striking is just not even comparable. Jan saying Hill money line doesn't make any sense. Plus 170. I think the fight should be a pick'em. I absolutely think it should as well. Either Verna gets the fight down to the mat or she doesn't. I feel like it should be minus 110 each way. I think Hill's getting very disrespected here. But yeah, I think there's a bunch of different ways to play this fight. But it should be a good one. Let's keep moving on. We have Michael Johnson going against Alan Patrick. This is the 1-800 Gambler fight of the week. Don't recommend anybody bets on this fight. I think it's a good spot for Michael Johnson, and I think he should win. But how many times have we said, hey, I think it's a good spot for Michael Johnson, and I think he should win. And then he goes out there and he loses and he pulls a massive stun. It's happened more often than not. I mean, it's hard to trust a guy like Michael Johnson. On the flip side, you have Alan Patrick, who's 38 years old. He looked really old today at the weigh-ins as well. Did not look great at the weigh-ins. He looked good. Like, I actually liked what I saw from Patrick going back and watching his older fights from like 2017, 2016. But, the last couple of years, he's looked horrible. He's looked absolutely horrible. So, yeah, Michael Johnson should win, but it's just putting your money on this fight and trusting either of these guys, it's just kind of crazy to me. So I'm going to take Johnson to win. Not betting it. There's no props I'd even look at as well, but I'll take Johnson to get it done. As far as DK goes, although I think it's a fight I don't want to play, I think it's like somewhat of a good fight to target on DraftKings. I don't think it's going to be very high owned. And Patrick, if he does win, it's probably a submission. Michael Johnson's been submitted like 9 times. Patrick is a black belt in BJJ, and if Johnson wins, it could be a potential knockout. Johnson's going to be the much better striker, only be close. So I think on DraftKings, that's where I'm going to have my ownership. But from a betting perspective, there's no way I'd ever bet a fight like this. And if I did, the orderlies would be at my door. You'd hear them knocking, and hopefully they could restrain me. I remember I bet Gina Mazzani a couple weeks back. This would be worse than betting Gina Mazzani, and that was very bad. So cannot be betting these 1-800 Gambler fights. never seems to work out, and you feel really bad about yourself afterwards. Johnson, round 3 decision. F it, I'm a degenerate gambler. Yeah, you are. Oh, yeah. Michael Johnson, first round KO. I don't know. I could see a KO really in any round. I could see a decision, but I can't see myself betting on this fight. Patrick looked 60. Yeah, he did look 60 today. That was weird. Patrick looked awful. Yeah, he looked bad. He looked really bad. Under 2.5. Sure. What is the line for that? Yeah, under 2.5, probably plus 150 around there. Yeah, I think it's worth a shot, I guess, if I was forced to bet on this fight, but I just can't I can't lay a dollar on this fight. Judging by history, Johnson will 10-8 him in the first round, then commit a foul, which Patrick will win, will milk for a DK. Absolutely. That is absolutely a good prediction there, Tony. I think it's definitely on the table. I think anything's possible in this fight. I knew Lou Becci has the Yam Bag special, which is like plus 2,000 for a point deduction. The draw could be live. The point deduction could be live. Anything can happen in this fight. This fight is a fight you want to definitely stay away from. But yeah, I'll take Johnson to win. But having confidence in Michael Johnson has burnt me a lot of times in the past, and I'm not going to let it happen this time. All right, next fight, we have Andrea Lee going against Viviane Araujo. We have Andrea Lee, who is minus 125, and Araujo is plus 100. This fight should probably be a straight pick 'em as well. If Viviane Araujo had good cardio, I'd be betting her here. The problem is she doesn't, and that's what makes this fight so tough to call, because I think stylistically, Araujo is going to have a ton of advantages early on. The problem is she slows down in every single fight for the most part. Early on, it's going to be very close on the feet. Both fighters have very good volume. You're going to have the more power from Araujo, and I think she's going to be able to win minutes on the feet early on. And then on top of that, the biggest thing for me is I think she can absolutely take down Andrea Lee, who's been taken down in every single one of her fights besides the Antonina fight. Araujo, very good grappler, very strong. If she can get on top, she's a black belt in BJJ. I think she can win minutes. But it's just what happens when this fight gets into the second round, into the third round, especially if she is implementing a heavy pace on the feet or on the mat. So, yeah, I'm going to take Araujo to win. I think she wins the first round. But it's just you can't trust Araujo with your money because she's going to most definitely slow down in that second and the third. So I think Araujo wins the first. I think Lee wins the third. It's going to come up to the second. Who knows? The judges, it's going to go to decision. You got to, see what the judges think as well. The judges don't know what they're watching as well. So just a fight I want to stay far away from. I think, this feels a lot like the Arlovsky-Jake Collier fight where we know it's going to go to decision. We know it's going to be greasy. It's going to be close. Just bet the split decision prop, which that was plus 500. It looks like the split for this fight is plus 380. I can definitely see a split decision. So I know me and Uncle Weezy did the PP on probability. We call it the probability parlay. And this is the first leg to that probability parlay. It's the fight goes to decision. Why bet a side here? Fight goes to decision as a parlay piece. I don't really see a finish here. It's going to be close. We're probably going to disagree with the decision one way or another. The judges are probably going to get it wrong. Why put your money on one side or another in a fight like this? So I'm going to take Araujo to win, but I guess the parlay piece would be that fight goes to decision. Is this a fight to target on DK? I'd say nah, not really in tournaments, but I do like Araujo in cash. I think she has a good floor there, and I think she can get takedowns early on. I think it's be very high volume. So I'm more of an Araujo fan in cash, but for tournaments, I just don't see it being very high scoring here. I was going to use the over 2.5 as a parlay piece, but I just can't lay minus 300 on over 2.5. I don't have the guts. Yeah, I think this fight does go over more often than not. I don't know how it finishes. Can't even think of a scenario, but we'll see what happens. KGB Lee, third decision. Thanks to Araujo's gassing later, possibly another draw play. Draw could be live, potentially mushroom. But yeah, Lee's gonna win that third round, so you gotta like that. I will live bet Lee if she loses the first round. Yeah, I absolutely think she loses the first round. So yeah, if you like Lee, second round better. I like it. All right, we will keep moving on. We have Jake Hadley going against Alan Nascimento. I'm looking forward to the debut of Hadley here. And yeah, I was talking about it all week. Like this feels like the Cortez and Gatto fight last week, where you have one fighter who I'm very confident is going to get on top and get takedowns and get control time. And they're going to have Nascimento, who's going to be content to just be on his back, throw up submissions, look for reversals and sweeps for 15 minutes. And this is a guy in Nascimento who he lost the fight against Tagir Ulanbekov, but he actually won the fight on one of the judges' scorecards after getting controlled for over 12 minutes in that fight. And the reason he won is because he's off his back, but he's so active, throwing up submissions nonstop. He's looking for things. And I kind of see that happening here. I think Hadley will have no problem getting it down to the mat. He's just going to have to mind his P's and Q's for 15 minutes. Nascimento is going to be throwing up submissions, but as long as Hadley can stay out of him, Hadley probably does win a decision here. So, yeah, I like Hadley to win. I'm not going to lay minus 220 on him. Like, Nascimento is going to make this competitive. He's going to have moments. He's probably going to get Hadley in some submission attempts at some point. But yeah, Hadley should win this fight. I think Hadley by decision is interesting, plus 150. I think the over 2.5 in the fight goes to decision is interesting. Nascimento has never been finished. Very good chin and very, very tough to submit. Nascimento is a very good grappler in his own right, but I just feel like the guy that's going to be on top in this fight is going to be Hadley. From a DraftKings perspective, yeah, I think it's a going to target. You have Hadley, who's going to go for takedowns. He's going to get them. No problem. Nascimento has no resistance on his takedown defense. And then you're going to have Nascimento, who's going to be off his back. He's going to be looking for submissions. If Nascimento wins, it's got to be a sub off his back. He's not going to go out there and win minutes in this fight. You don't believe. And then Hadley, if he wins, it's going to be a lot of takedowns, a lot of control time, and probably just a grinding decision. So DraftKings, I like it. From a betting perspective, it would be the over 2.5, if anything. The fight goes to decision, if anything. But another fight I don't really want to put my money on because, I don't know, I feel like Nascimento's somewhat live in this fight, but it seems like a fight Hadley should win. Nascimento decision, interesting. I don't know. I don't see it. I think if he wins, it's going to be a sub. I see him winning like 0 minutes. Fight of the night, could it be the co-main? Yeah, I think the co-main could be the fight of the night. I think Grant Smolka could be fight of the night. I think Torres Camacho could be fight of the night. I think those three have potential to be fight of the night. Even like Maximov Petrovski is the first fight of the night, but I think that fight's gonna be actually more exciting than people think. Do you think Hadley scores better than Tara? That's a very tough question. I'd say so. I think Hadley's going to have an easier time getting the fight down to the mat than Tara is. So I'd say yeah. And he's cheaper as well. I have Hadley and Tara by decision parlay plus 775, and that's nice. I do agree with that. I like it. Nascimento by sub plus 500. He will fight for my money. Yeah, if you like Nascimento submission plus 500, I'll tell you right now, you're going to get a lot of opportunities with that bet, a lot of them. And I was kind of hoping it would be a better price than that. But yeah, if you like Nascimento plus 500 sub, he's going to go for a ton of them. So yeah, we'll see. But I think that's his win condition there. All right. Do want to thank everybody for hanging out with me. If you guys can leave a like, subscribe here to the MMA Engine. I'll be here every Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. I'll be going live with Uncle Weezy, Narco Cop, and Eric Betts fights 1 hour prior to the prelims on my channel, DFS by the Numbers, tomorrow. I believe, I don't know if this is wrong, but they're saying the prelims start at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, which would be very unfortunate because that means the fights are going to end at like 2. So I hope they're wrong, but hey, if that's the case, we'll be live around 6 o'clock, 6:30 tomorrow on my channel, DFS by the Numbers. Do not know what's going on with that start time. Weird. But we'll move on. We have probably my favorite fight of the night. We have Manuel Torres going against Frank Camacho. This fight should be an absolute banger, and this is actually going to close out the probability parlay me and Weezy did. We have the fight doesn't go to decision in this fight, parlayed with Lee Araujo. Fight goes decision for minus 111. And I do like that parlay quite a bit. And yeah, I think this fight has a really good chance of finishing. Obviously, minus 300, fight doesn't go to decision. And I do have a bet here. It's on a card where I don't have a ton of action. I have a bunch of very small plays. This is my biggest bet of the night. I have 1.5 units on the under 2.5 rounds at minus 180. Some fun facts I'll throw out at you. Manuel Torres has 14 fights. He's been to decision 1 time. Manuel Torres has 14 fights. He's been to a second round 1 time. He's been over 1.5 1 time. He's been to the third round 1 time. And this is a very fun fact. In 14 fights, Manuel Torres has been over half a round only 2 times in 14 fights. And these are spots that me and Weezy especially look for, these kill or be killed fighters. Torres has won every single one of his fights but 1 inside the distance, and he's been finished twice inside the distance. And I like that they matched him up against Camacho because, Camacho's a guy that's just going to go after it, from start to finish. Camacho's a guy that doesn't mind eating one to give one. Honestly, like eating two to give one. This guy Camacho's very, very hittable, absorbing over 7 significant strikes per minute. This guy's striking defense does not really exist. So he's going to go in there. He's going to get into a war. He's going to get into a brawl with a much younger, much dangerous Torres here. So I just think they're going to stand and bang until one man falls. Even look at like Camacho's finish rates. Camacho an 86% finish rate. And he's been finished in 7 of his 9 losses, 5 by knockout. He's now 32 years old. He's taking a layoff. He's young. But he's taken a ton of damage throughout his career. He's been knocked out 5 times. He was in a car accident over his layoff. He's been gone for 2 years. What's he going to look like? This is such a good fight. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm more so looking forward to violence in this fight. Nothing I'm like extremely confident about. It's not the biggest play in the world, but this is a spot I would take, pretty much every time, especially at a bettable number. And the under 2.5s are all bettable. Minus 180 on DraftKings. If you have 5 dimes, it's minus 170. Some other books with the minus 175 for the under 2.5. Fight doesn't get a decision as a parlay piece as well on DraftKings. It's actually minus 250. I think that's interesting. But they're going to stand and bang until one man falls. And I cannot wait for this fight. From a DraftKings perspective, I like both sides. I kind of split the ownership down the middle for the most part with a slight lean to Torres. I think somebody gets finished. I think somebody gets finished under a round and a half as well. But 1.5 units, under 2.5. I think the under 1.5 is good as well. But I like getting that extra round just in case. But yeah, under 1.5 is plus money. That's not terrible. Fight won't start round 3 is like minus 128 on FanDuel. That's not terrible. Under 2.5 is not terrible as well. But I do like violence in this spot quite a bit. Violence. I agree. I think we will definitely get some violence in this fight. Camacho looked 1,000% better at the weigh-ins than he ever has. Yeah, he looked really good. He really did. So maybe that does translate here, but regardless, I think they're going to throw it down. We're going to say yes, violence bets. Cannot wait for it. Do you think Frank Camacho will get smoked like he did versus Justin James? I don't think it'll be that early, but I think he does get knocked out in the first round. But I don't want to completely write off Frank Camacho here. He has fought the much better competition, and we don't know a ton about Torres, but I just think somebody's going to sleep here. We got Sean joining us. What's up, Sean? How you doing? Under 1.5. Yeah, under 1.5, I think is solid. Plus money as well. And now you're getting a little crazy mushroom. Fight ends under 60 seconds, plus 700. Hey, if there's a fight where it's going to end under 60 seconds, it's probably this one. But those are very, very hard to hit. But we'll keep moving on to the next fight. This is Caitlin Chookagian going against Amanda Hebus. I'm very disappointed. Chookagian allegedly has a 6-inch height advantage. They face off against each other, and Chookagian has like a 2-inch height advantage. So somebody lied about their height. Is Caitlin Chookagian really 5'9"? I'm not sure. Is Amanda Hebus really 5'3"? I'm not sure, but I know somebody's lying, and that's pretty annoying because it was not even close. I was expecting Chookagian to tower over Amanda Hebus, but that was absolutely not the case. But yeah, I like Chookagian here. Everybody likes Chookagian in the spot. I think it's a good spot for her. Hebus coming up a weight class does not really make much sense to me. On the feed, it's going to be Chookagian all day. I think for Hebus to have success, she's going to have to take down Chookagian. Chookagian brown belt and BJJ. Chookagian, the much bigger fighter, the more natural 125er as well. I think it's going to pay dividends. She's going to have better cardio. And we know Caitlin always gets that rub from the judges as well. So I think it's a good spot for Caitlin. You can't be too confident in women's MMA. You can't be too confident in laying chalk women's MMA. But I laid chalk on women's MMA this week. Didn't want to go too heavy on it. But I do have a unit on Caitlin Chookagian minus 175. Completely butchered the line. Kind of sat on it all week. Like, do I want to bet Caitlin Chookagian? Do I not want to bet it? I don't really want to bet it, but I think she's in a very good spot here and think she wins. I was kind of looking at the Caitlin Chookagian by decision, but the one thing that threw me off was Hebus has been finished in her 2 losses by knockout. And I know Caitlin has not finished anybody in a long time. But, Hebus did get dropped by Jandiroba. She does not react very well to shots as well. So I wouldn't be completely shocked if Chookagian got her first finish. And she has been talking about wanting to get that first finish for like a long time now. Hasn't happened, obviously, but hey, it could happen here. But yeah, I like Chookagian. The money line would not touch the decision prop really at minus 115. If you can get it at plus 120 on FanDuel, I don't hate that decision line. But yeah, Chookagian money line for me. Do I feel great about it? No. But I do think she has a really good chance to win this fight, and she probably should be a bigger favorite. Just Amanda Hebus' path to victory is getting the fight down to the mat and controlling a much bigger Chookagian for 2 out of the 3 rounds. I just find that hard to believe. So Chookagian, 1 unit, minus 175, laying chalk on women's MMA. Usually bites me more often than not, but I do feel about as solid as I can on this fight and on Chookagian here. I think it's a really solid matchup for her. Hebus is hot. Yeah, she's all right. This is Chook all day by decision. Yeah, I've not really seen anybody on Hebus, which is weird. Usually with women's MMA, we get somebody on either side, but Chook round 3 decision. Kia, yeah, she's gonna be doing a ton of kiaing. Taking school by screaming and pillow fist. Yep. No way. Chook is 6 inches taller. To see the face off's not even close to 6 inches. Yeah, I just talked about that. It's like 2 inches difference, which yeah, I mean that's I mean usually you're off by a little bit, but yeah, they're way off there. Like it was not even close. Women's fight expert who always seems right has Chook very confident. There's a women's fight expert. I would love to meet this guy. Maybe he can give me a few pointers because I tend to get women's MMA wrong more often than not, and it bites me a ton. But yeah, I'm glad the women's MMA expert is on Chookagian. It's something good to hear. All right. Didn't even talk about from a DraftKings perspective. I'm not going to be playing a ton of Chookagian on DraftKings. She's hit value like 1 time against Antonina, but other than that, she's not going to go for takedowns against Hebus. If she did, that'd be a big mistake. She's not going to more than often than not knock out Hebus as well. She's going to be low owned, but other than that, like I just don't see Chookagian's going well, and then I just don't like this match for Hebus. So a fight I'm not going to have a ton of on DraftKings, but yeah, 1 unit bet on Chookagian. Let's go. Let's go, guys. Let's do it. Next fight, Davey Grant going against Luis Smolka. This is everybody's favorite violence spot of the card, and I don't have a bet on this fight. I think violence is solid. It's just the price is getting away a little bit, and I saw it at minus 175 earlier in the week. I did not pull the trigger. It's still minus 200. Still have not pulled the trigger, and I don't think it's going to be there much longer. It's a very popular play this week, and rightfully so. Both guys are very good finishers. Both guys are very good at getting finished as well. I think Davey Grant probably does go out here and knock out Luis Smolka and probably does it early on. I think Davey Grant's striking has looked phenomenal as of late. Like even in his 2 losses, he's impressed me. Against Marlon Vera, looked really good early on. And then on top of that, against Adrian Yanez, I had a big bet on Yanez and I was sweating it because Davey Grant was actually very competitive with Yanez throughout the fight. But yeah, I think Grant's the better fighter. Do I want to lay minus 300 on a 36-year-old bantamweight who's been submitted 4 times? Absolutely don't want to do that. But as far as a pick, I will be picking Davey Grant here. I know people are talking about the Smolka by submission line, which is plus 750 on FanDuel. I think that's kind of interesting considering Smolka, very, very good grappler. Grant's been finished in 4 of his 6 losses by submission. I think that's interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's just not, these props just aren't playable for me. I don't want to lay minus 115 on Grant inside the distance. I don't really want to lay plus 125 on Grant by KO. I don't want to lay minus 300 on Grant inside the or Grant money line, and I don't really want to lay minus 200 on the fight doesn't go, to be honest. So I think the fight finishes, but it's not a violent spot like I'm running to the window for. On DraftKings, I'll have a good amount of Grant 9,100. I think is a good chance of finishing. And then as far as a pump play, I don't think Smolka is the worst look in the world at 7,100. Again, he's going to have an advantage on the mat if he can get it there. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, give me Davey Grant to win with not a ton of confidence, but I like what I've been seeing from Grant as of late. Grant KO round 1, Smolka his ass. I mean, yeah, Smolka's kind of hit or miss. Sometimes he shows up, he looks really good. Sometimes he shows up and looks really bad. Violence bet, yeah, I think it is a violent spot for sure, especially if you can still get it at minus 200. I see like minus 280, which at that point just does not make much sense. But yeah, minus 200 on Bet Online is still there. Yes, more violence. I like it. I parlayed it with the Torres fight as a good decision. I think that's a good parlay. I think it hits for you there. But yeah, it should be a fun fight. And potential fight of the night here in this one and Davey Grant Smolka, or the next one, Ion Cutelaba, Ryan Spann. And by the way, it's funny that I'm more looking forward to Davey Grant Smolka, Cutelaba Spann, Torres Camacho, even the first fight of the night, Maximov, Petrovski, rather than the main event. It just goes to show like what's going on with these cards, especially next week. Like Holly Holm, Ketlin Vieira, 10 fight card, 10 fights to work with. We'll probably even lose one by the time. Maybe have like a 9 fight card. headlined by Ketlin Vieira and Holly Holm next week. It does not get much better than that. My goodness. At least, on the bright side, we get to see Jailton Almeida going against Parker Porter, right? And that should be fun. But yeah, these cards, like the last couple weeks, have just been, the pay-per-views have been good, but my goodness, they're kind of not been great as of late. But hey, if we can make money on them, like I said, no problem with that. And like I always say, a card headlined by Holly Holm and Ketlin Vieira is better than no card at all. So we gotta take what we can get. But my goodness, they're making it kind of hard on us. All right, Tony, these odds are from Bet Online. Bet Online. So the books I use mostly Bet Online, Bovada are probably my two favorites, and then FanDuel and DraftKings I like a lot. But FanDuel's been kind of weird as of late in terms of getting the lines out. They just got their lines out today, which is like one of the last books to do so. So this right here on the screen is Bet Online. Smolka's a quitter. I had him on DK last time, and he made me lose money. Yeah, he got knocked out last time. When was the last time Smolka looked good? The last time Smolka looked good was in that Quinones fight. He looked really good in the Quinones fight. Like I said, he's hit or miss. I think he's been like win-loss like the last 6 fights. And by the way, did you see the hair on Smolka? Smolka's hair looked very good today at weigh-ins. All right. Cutelaba, Ryan Spann, minus 420, fight doesn't go to decision. On FanDuel Sportsbook, they have minus 600, fight doesn't go to decision, which does not make a ton of, it makes sense, I guess, but, I could see this fight going to decision, believe it or not. Cutelaba's been to decision his last 2 fights. Like, wouldn't shock me if Cutelaba grinded out a decision with takedowns at control time, but he should go out here and finish Ryan Spann. Spann's been finished in 5 of his 7 losses. Cutelaba is going to be the more durable fighter. I like that. And Cutelaba showed off some improved cardio. His cardio looked completely fine in his last fight against Devin Clark. So I like what I've been seeing from Cutelaba. I think it's a good spot for him here. I think he has multiple ways to win, whether it's going out there and knocking out Spann on the feet, or whether it's going out there and shooting a ton of takedowns. And I like that. I like that, especially from a DraftKings perspective. But in terms of like betting props in this fight, you have Cutelaba minus 160 inside the distance. I don't like that. Cutelaba by KO minus 130. I don't really like that. By sub plus 1,000. I don't like that. Don't really like any props as well, or don't like any props, but I do like Cutelaba to win as a whole. But even like laying minus 225 on a guy like Cutelaba is not something I really want to do. We talked about on probability, like the under 1.5, although we're laying chalk on it, is somewhat interesting. And then also the fight won't start round 2 is somewhat interesting, but again, it would not completely shock me if Cutelaba just kind of grinded this one out and got this extended a little bit. But yeah, I like Cutelaba here. Going to have a ton of them on DraftKings. I think he's one of my favorite, if not my favorite DraftKings play on the slate. Ryan Spann, 7,300. I think you got to have a little bit. This is a light heavyweight fight. This fight is like minus 420. Fight doesn't go. Somebody's getting finished here more than likely. But I do like Cutelaba quite a bit. But yeah, no bet on this fight for me, but the pick is going to be Cutelaba. And I'll say he does stop Spann, but not a ton of confidence in that. Mushroom saying violence. Yeah, this is minus 420. Fight doesn't go decision. And I was more confident on the I can't believe like Oliveira Gaethje last week was closed on 5 dimes at minus 375. Fight doesn't go to decision. Like, that's crazy. And then we have this fight, which is minus 420. Like, I was way more confident in the Gaethje fight finishing than this fight. And you're actually paying more, which is crazy to me. But yeah, I think the fight should finish. Spann inside the distance, plus 500. Yeah, it's good line there. I think if Spann wins, it is inside the distance for sure. Okay, man. Thank you. Love the video's been watching now for a few weeks. Appreciate the content. Appreciate you, Tony, hanging out and watching. Brandon saying Caesars. Yeah, I need to get into a Caesars account. Caesars has been killing it as of late. Let's see if we got anything here. I noticed about Smolka's hair too. He wanted to use that thick hair to protect his chin. And there you go. Maybe it helps. Spann first round sub. Interesting. Not sure what the odds would be on that, but a Spann by sub in general is plus 900, which is kind of crazy because Spann does win by submission more than knockout. Very slick submission game. And I do think this fight does play on the mat quite a bit. So kind of a hot take there, Spencer, but I think that pays huge more than likely. Cutelaba, 3rd round decision. Probably get some really good odds on that. Fight goes decision, sneaky play. Yeah, I think it's sneaky. I don't think a lot of people are expecting it to go to decision. But I think if you bet it, you'll probably take a couple years off your life. But yeah, I think it could hit. I'd rather bet the fight goes than the fight doesn't go at this point, though. But I'm just going to stay away. I think the best move is just to pass. Violence parlays from this week: Cutelaba, Grant, Camacho fight is a good decision. Yeah, the big three. I think those big three should hit. Then using as a base, adding different last legs. Maximum fight doesn't go. Hill, Chook, Hadley, interesting. Blachowicz to win 6 different parlays. Hopefully they hit for you, Jeff. With the Hulk's commitment to takedowns and wrestling recently, the over looks like an undervalued play. I would say it's undervalued. I can't get to it. For next week's surprise, Pereira is even odds versus Ponzinibbio. I want to say like Pereira was a bigger dog. I want to say it was plus 120. So yeah, it looks like it's closing up a little bit. I was meaning to look into that card next week today. I'm going to do it tonight, but not going to take long. There's only 10 fights next week. All right, let us keep moving on. We have one fight left. We have the main event. And yeah, this is rough. We have Rakic going against Blachowicz. 5 rounds of this. Can't wait. I just feel like this fight's going to be so uneventful. I feel like not a ton's going to go on. I do like the Rakic side with not a ton of confidence, but I like what he brings to the table in terms of I like his cage control. I like if he can get on top. Is very good on top in terms of not doing much, but not letting his opponents up. He was able to get on top of Anthony Smith, control him for nearly 15 minutes of that fight. His leg kicks are very good. Very good head kick as well. Has a lot of good tools, and on top of that, he's going to be younger as well. So yeah, I think Rakic wins. I think it's kind of a boring fight, as sad as it sounds, and I think he kind of grinds this one to a decision. Do I want to bet on this fight? Not really. I think the fight goes to decision is interesting at plus money, but at the end of the day, both guys are dangerous. This is at light heavyweight. Rakic by decision plus 175 is okay. I'm just not tempted at all to bet this fight, really. But yeah, the pick's Rakic for me. As far as the DraftKings perspective goes, Rakic on 8,700. I just can't get there. I don't see him going out there and putting on a high volume pace. I don't see him going out there starching Blachowicz early. I just see this kind of being like a grinding fight with not a ton going on that does go 5 rounds and probably not scoring a lot. So not going to get to Rakic. If anything, it's going to be Blachowicz at 7,500 just in case he does go out there and knock out Rakic. But yes, this is rough. Give me Rakic for the pick. Rakic by decision. But no bet on this one, and not a ton of interest from a DraftKings perspective, which is crazy because this is the main event and this is only an 11-fight card. But yeah, I just feel like this fight's not going to be very eventful, and I don't really want to put any money on it. Rakic head kick KO. Yeah, if he lands one of those head kicks, he could put out Blachowicz. Do you think the fight could be optimal, or is it a fade in general? If you're playing like 150 lineups, I'd play it, but if you're playing like a couple, I probably fade it in general. But yeah, I do have some Blachowicz. I don't have much Rakic at all, but I do have some Blachowicz. Jan and Rakic face off was funny. It looks like they're going to kiss each other. Yeah, they were very close. Very close. I know their noses were touching, but it looked bad. Rakic by hugging and laying on Jan. Yeah, I think that's definitely on the table. We saw Jan get taken down by Glover, and I know it's Glover, but once he got taken down, he didn't have anything off his back. And if Rakic can get him down, he's not getting back up. So yeah, it could be rough. All these 5 rounders that were not supposed to go the distance that did. So I'm playing a fight doesn't go to decision. Oh, you're doing the reverse. You're doing the reverse there. I mean, anything can happen. It's like heavyweight. These guys are dangerous, but I just don't see a ton of action. And yeah, I know what you mean, Mushroom. There's been a lot of these fights, light heavyweight fights, that we expect to end inside the distance, but just a lot of staring at each other for 5 rounds. You got Jan liking Blachowicz here. Rakic is a good fighter overall. Blachowicz, checks low kicks and hits harder. I thought Rakic has a reach advantage, but it's the same. Plus 160 for Blachowicz is the value side here. Yeah, I can agree with that. I think people might be, counting out Blachowicz a little bit too much. Because at the end of the day, he looked bad in his last fight against Glover, but prior to that, he was winning a lot and looking very good and losing me a lot of money. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, guys, not a ton of action on this card. I want to say since I've started tracking, this has got to be one of my lowest, if not lowest, in terms like the units here in this card. So I have 1 unit on Caitlin Chookagian, minus 175. I have 1.5 units on Camacho Torres, under 2.5, minus 180, my biggest play of the night. Half a unit on Angela Hill, decision only, which is the opposite of finish only. I have a quarter unit on Verna Jandiroba by submission, plus 350. And then I have a half unit on Nick Maximov. Petrovski fight doesn't go decision. I'm going to start looking into next week tonight. I already have a bet for UFC 275, which is in a month. That's awesome. So we're going to start getting ahead. We have a week off after next week as well. So going to be a good time to get ahead and get some early stuff done there. So yeah, guys, that is about it. We'll answer any final questions, and then we'll head out of here. Just want to remind you guys again, next week, same place, MMA Engine, every Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow, best bet, 1 hour prior to the prelims. Apparently, they're starting at 7:30. We'll go live around 6:30, 6 o'clock for best bet as well. Me, Uncle Weezy, Narco, and Eric Betts fights. Rakic by decision at plus 175 is all I really have in this one, but Bootsy convinced me to take a shot on Camacho. Yeah, Bootsy high on Camacho this week. We'll have to see. Appreciate that, Jeff. Mushroom using his Polish logic. I like it. Brandon on the Jan side. I like it. We'll see what happens, but I'll be honest, I'm not looking forward to the main event that much. But maybe I'm proved wrong. Maybe it's an exciting fight, but my goodness, just not overly looking forward to it. But hey, it's going to be better than Ketlin Vieira Holy Home, right? It's got to be. But yeah, that's about it, guys. Thank you for watching so much. Leave a like, subscribe here to the MMA Engine. Let's keep growing the channel. Let's try to get 1,000 subs. It'd be much appreciated. And we'll talk to you guys very soon. And if you have not yet, check out Propability on the channel. Me and Uncle Weezy talk about all the props and all that good stuff. It's a great show. Try to get that into your weekly routine. I know it's one of my favorite shows of the week as well. So that's about it, guys. Best of luck, and we'll talk to you very